Now, I am not really about taking shortcuts when it comes to building your marketing foundation in your business. And it's something that we actually, many of us entrepreneurs, I did it myself, we skip when we start our business, which is really understanding how to develop and refine yourself as a personal brand, especially if you're an expert, if you are a thought leader, if you are a coach, consultant, the face of your business, right? But the shortcuts that I'm going to talk to you about today are a little different. Okay, these are actual like tactical shortcuts that will save you. I'm talking about like hours a week. And who doesn't want to save hours a week doing things that they probably don't need to be doing, right? Raise your hand. I mean, your virtual hand. All right. So if you're brand new to my world, welcome. My name is Gina Tassinelli. I'm the CEO and founder of Hype Media, stylishly branded, and my passion project, Style Rebel Mama. And we work with experts, established entrepreneurs, small businesses, national brands, personal brands to help you ignite your visibility and your influence on social media so that you can connect with your ideal clients on a real human level and make a bigger impact, make more money, serve more people. Bottom line. Okay. So if you're new, let me know that you're new. I'd love to know how you found me. All right. So I want to know on a scale from 1 to 10, how would it feel like if you could get hours back in your week from actual marketing, from your marketing tasks? Okay. And don't you wish that there was an easier way to streamline your marketing efforts and actually save you time without sacrificing results? Because one thing that many of us, especially as solopreneurs, can feel like is that we're doing all these things, but the results are so small for the time and effort that we put into it. And I do want you to know that there are a lot of different steps to marketing. There's a lot of different things in a marketing strategy. So it's more than just like creating content and posting it. There's still other things that are a part of that. That's just a really small piece. And although there's a lot of pieces that make up that puzzle, over time, if done strategically and very focused and intentionally, you will see results. Okay. It may not happen overnight, but there are things that you can actually do to really condense that time, to collapse the time in the marketing that you do to see results instantly. It's just many of us get impatient, or we let fear get in the way, or our confidence. And sometimes we don't have the courage to do some of these things that can really collapse the time. So what I'm going to share with you is no fluff, no BS, things that you can actually do, everything from automating certain things, repurposing content, that sort of thing. Okay. Here's the thing. Whether you are a solopreneur, like it's just you, right, running your business, or you have a team, or maybe you are a corporation with multiple offices, no matter what, all sizes of business cannot afford to ignore social media, right? So it's not a matter of should I be on social media? It's a necessity nowadays. But with that said, you also want to make sure that you are doing things efficiently, right? And not wasting your time. So one of the things that I find quite often, and why people come to us as an agency to handle all of their social media, is because there are a lot of trends that happen. There's a lot of changes that happen like all the time. I mean, literally at the time that I'm sharing this with you, something has just changed, okay, on social media. So staying in the know takes a lot of time. And that's one of the reasons why people come to us, is because this isn't their lane, right? They don't have time to like stay in the know of all these things. So that's one thing. And with that, let's talk about the first thing is what are some really great shortcuts and some really bad shortcuts? Because I also see people do shortcuts that I'm just like, no, it's not going to help you. That's really going to hurt you. So one of the things is I love automation. I am all about automation, but before you jump into automating things, you also need to have your process that can turn into an automation. It needs to be proven already. Like you have had to have been using it and actually gotten results from it before you make it into an automated process. If not, then your automation is not going to work. And the time that you spent to create that automation is not going to work either. And it's going to be a waste of time and you're going to be frustrated. Okay. So Although, there are things like chatbots, which, by the way, I build. I love chatbots, things like that. If you don't automate them with personality and without having the process already proven, like it already works, it's going to fail. I see a lot of solopreneurs, especially, like jump into these amazing automations because we do get what's the word or the phrase shiny object syndrome, right? And so we may jump on all these really cool things that have just come out, but we are copying and pasting. We're not really putting our own personality into it. And these are skills that you learn over time. And so you can really automate messages, for example, but if you do it in a way that sounds robotic, it's going to fail. It's not going to work for you. Okay. The other thing is posting the same exact content over and over again, or posting the same exact content, for example, on your Facebook business page, and the same day, the same content inside of a group. Okay. Although there is a possibility that the same people, like that same person in your group, may not see it on your page, it's still out there. So, what I suggest people to do is to take 1 week's worth of content that maybe you put on your Facebook business page, and then the following week or 2 weeks later, repurpose it over into your group, and also change some of the text. So inside of a group, you want things to be more like less formal, more organic, more natural, right? So some of the wording might change. You may want to add a question to increase engagement. There's other things to do. So copying and pasting exactly in all the places doesn't always work. So that's another thing that I tend to notice. Aside from that, let's talk about things that can actually work. So number one is using a clipboard extension. So this is actually a little hack. There is a really cool clipboard extension that will copy. If you copy something, you can save it. That way you don't have to like go back and remember, where did I use that phrase or that call to action, right? This literally can save you hours. Or maybe it's other things that you reuse over and over again, but you're like sifting through tons of content or documents on your computer to find. You can also use, I'm going to share some of these with you too. So I actually grabbed this from a blog post that I recently read, but there's also some, like, for example, if you are inside of Facebook, for example, and you want to add a new status, just using the letter P, the letter L for liking a story, the letter S for sharing a story, things like that. Okay. So shortcuts using an app like the clipboard app or other like keyword shortcuts. Okay. The second one, number two, is to use tools where you can manage multiple social media accounts. And although I will tell you, because we have tested this day in and day out, although I hear differently from people as well. I hear both sides. So, for example, like scheduling out your content, there's tons of third-party apps out there that you can schedule out to multiple platforms, right? You can link your LinkedIn to it, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Twitter, your Pinterest, your Facebook, all of these platforms to it. We personally, as an agency, we like to schedule content for Facebook and Instagram right inside of the Business Suite planner. I feel like I'm old school in that way, but I've tested this out multiple times on my own accounts, on client accounts, and I see that the reach gets hurt when you use third-party apps. However, if you're on other platforms, utilize these other third-party apps. Like Metricool is one that we've been using. If you want the link to that one, let me know. I do have an affiliate link. So just so you know, it's an affiliate link. If you decide to go with it, it's not like you're going to pay more. It's the same thing. I'll just get a little kickback. But Metricool is a really fun one that we've been using lately. Also, Smarter Q is another great one. And what I love about these is that you get lots of analytics out of them, but you can also repurpose your content, like reschedule content 3 months from now. The same content from today, if it's more like an evergreen content, you can reschedule it for whenever you want. So it just keeps getting rotated. Okay. So that can save you tons of time as well. All right. Number 3 is hiring out. Okay. So hiring a team of experts like us over at Hype Media, and working with a consultant or a coach like myself so that you can understand how to collapse the time it takes you to create effective marketing and results from that marketing. There are other resources as well. Like you can go over to Fiverr and hire a freelancer to, like if you need to get a lead magnet created or an ebook or even like some content, right? You can hire out. And some of these resources, they're not super high budget. All right. Fiverr is actually a great one. Now, I will say you want to make sure to read all of the reviews of the people, that sort of thing. Next up, number 4, there are tools that you can use to actually manage your comments on social media in multiple channels. Okay. So this is not something that we actually use. You want to also, if you do this, you need to have like lots of accounts and lots of engagement to really make it worth your while. But if you are, for example, a corporate account or a national brand and that does seem like you, there are ways that you can really respond to comments in one platform. Okay. So look out for those. Number 5 is you want to create a calendar, a content calendar. Okay. I can't stress this like more than I already do because it's something that I constantly talk about. You must have a content calendar. If not, you're not focused, you have no strategy, nothing really means much, right? And when you have a content calendar, there is actually a reason why you're putting content out there because it's thought provoking. You're taking time to really make things make sense, not just for you, but also for your audience. So if you're just constantly just throwing content out, but it doesn't have like rhyme or reason, it's not moving people through the stages of them getting to know, like, trust, and buy from you, there's no sense in putting content out there. And when you have a content calendar that supports your strategy, right, your marketing strategy, then it will make sense and it's going to save you loads amount of time. Loads. All right. So number 6 is reporting tools, or at least using the analytics portion inside of these platforms. You need to understand what is working and what's not working so you can create more of what is working and you don't waste time. Number 7 is share content from other sources. So not all content has to just be yours. Okay. Share, interesting articles, other videos. Lots of the time they share like inspirational quotes from other pages or other profiles on Instagram, things like that. It's okay to share. Just make sure that you give that other account credit, right? So you don't want to copy and paste. You don't want to download somebody else's content and then reuse it as yours. You want to share it and give credit. So remember, 7 days a week, not all that content just has to be from you. And I would advise that it not be always just your content because you want people to see you as a resource. So, for example, if you sell makeup and skincare, right? Maybe you see a really interesting article by an esthetician or a blog post. Share that. It relates to your business. It's also going to still be valuable for your audience, right? Number 8 is to focus on the social media channels that reach your audience more effectively than the ones that don't. So here's what I mean by this. I know that we can get really caught up on hearing that TikTok is like the greatest thing, right? Or doing reels. But if you're spending all your time doing these things and you're not really engaging over there because your clients don't seem to be over there, you're wasting your time. Okay. You want to focus on the platforms where your audience is actually engaging and also where you're spending most of your time. So if you do want to dive into go full on into TikTok, make sure that you're going to be spending time over there. If not, you're just wasting time. You're wasting time creating videos, trying to figure out what to do. And that again can take up a lot of hours during the week or months or years, right? So focus on the social media channels where your audience is and where you spend most of the time. Number 9 is you want to repurpose old content. When you go through your analytics, through your insights, you're going to be able to tell which pieces of content got the most engagement. Go back and repurpose those. You can repurpose them by literally just copying and pasting and reposting them as new content, maybe tweak a few words, Or if you use, like I said, a third-party app like Metricool or SmarterQ, you can set up certain posts to actually repurpose every so often. And you can set the time limit, like it can be every couple months, every 3 months, whatever you want. Right? So repurpose content. Also, with that said, and that's actually more like reposting content, but with that said, take, for example, a blog post or a video and create that into a blog post, or use that video, the content in the video, the words that were said in the video, transcribe it and take pieces of that video for email campaigns, or take little snippets or little like statements, one or two phrases that you said, those really big nuggets, and use those statements to put on an image. And then that same statement you can use to create a little reel. I mean, there's so many ways that you can repurpose. That's a lot of what we work on inside of the society, and it saves so much time. So remember, marketing is a journey, but you can also find ways to save time and stay on brand, keep your message cohesive, and shortcuts like this will really help, especially when you're repurposing your content. And then number 10 is to batch, meaning sit down for an hour a week to create a week's worth of content. That's a way to batch. If you are doing reels, you can do 4 reels in one sitting. Just change your top, right? Like have 4 tops next to you, maybe 4 different sets of earrings, and that's it. Just one by one, you just change your top, you do a reel, then put on a new top, do a reel, and you do it all in one sitting rather than it be like every time or on the go or on the fly. When you're creating your content, you can also batch content using simple tools like AI to help you. I can ask it with certain parameters and a certain personality and details to, I was going to say spit out, but to output 4 posts all at one time. Okay. So you can batch your content. You can also do this without AI, but I know it's a hot topic right now. And by the way, these AI tools and AI has been around forever. I mean, that's how like Google works, right? Everything that we do, a lot of things that we do are not controlled. So I don't want to say the word controlled, but they are, I'm totally at a loss for words for it, but they work with AI. And so these tools aren't new and AI isn't new. So I'm going to do a quick little speedy recap. Here are 5 really simple and easy shortcuts that can shave hours, weekly, monthly, yearly from your marketing. Okay. So number 1 is use keyboard shortcuts and extensions. And one of my favorite ones, which I mentioned, is the Clipboard History Pro. That is amazing, amazing extension. Okay. Number 2, use tools to manage multiple social media accounts like Metricool. SmarterQ is another one where you can not only do post scheduling, but you can also cross publish, and you can also video cross publish too, which I absolutely love. Number 3, hire out, get support. Whether it's hiring an agency like ours, Hype Media, working with an expert, a coach, consultant like myself, or even a freelancer on Fiverr, for example, is a great place to go. Number 4 is use a tool to manage comments. If you have a really highly engaged brand or business online and you get lots of comments in different directions, there are tools like Agorapulse, which will help you manage all of those comments in one place. Number 5 is create a social media calendar, a content calendar for yourself. Okay. This should be something that you do on routine every week, at least a week out. You should have your content planned, but by also having a full year content calendar, you can plug in certain things that you want to do throughout the year, like maybe, a challenge, a workshop, your master classes, things like that. So you already know it's out of your head and it's planned out. Number 6 is using reporting tools or making sure that you're looking at your analytics and insights right inside of the platforms. That way, you know exactly what's working, what's not working, and you can do more of what is working. Number 7 is sharing content from other resources, other pages, other articles, blogs, industry peers that you feel could really bring value to your audience. It doesn't always have to be from you. Okay. Number 8 is focusing on social media channel or channels that your audience is primarily hanging out at, and that you are spending more time on, rather than trying to be all over the place or trying something new when you still haven't quite gotten down, one or two platforms. Number 9 is to repurpose old content. So you can repost it, right? And then even tweak it a little bit so it's not exactly the same, but make sure to look at content that has gotten great engagement, comments, shares, things like that before you decide on that piece of content. And then also repurposing by taking like a video, for example, creating a blog post from it, taking text from that video, using it for emails, also taking little phrases for quotes on an image inside of Canva, really easy to create, and other messages as well. And then number 10 is you want to batch. So batch when you're creating content weekly, batch when you're creating your videos, batch when you're writing out content. All right. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I will see you next week, same time. Until then, remember to stay social. Bye, guys.